Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are at the World of Wellness. I'm your host, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host of the Jamie and Joe Show, Joe Messino. So we are at the Wine of Wellness Week number 97, Joe. Can you believe it?
Every time I hear that number, I can't believe it, but I can't wait for the big one.
And this is a very special week. 20 years ago, I met Dr. Weiner and Joe Messino, and very excited to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of that. And
wow.
over 30 years in the fitness and functional medicine field. So I know. How about yourself, Joe?
I don't know. I stopped counting, James. I had my first school in 1984, martial arts school. So that was when I officially went into business.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do the math, but we know that we have a lot of experience, and we want to bring some experience today because we always talk about women's health.
Mm-hmm.
But today, what are we talk about?
We got to get the other side of the coin here. We need a little bit of men's health.
Yes, we do.
Because they can't do it without us, and we can't do it without them.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about men's health. Before we do, let's do a little recap on what's going on down at the World of Wellness. This is a live event, so you can come in. We have people here already.
Yes.
You know, the breakfast crowd. So we do have free smoothies all day. In fact, we're going to do a demo at 1 o'clock. Is the bar open, Phil?
Always open.
Oh, always open. So the bar is open, Joe. So what's your favorite smoothie? We all have our favorites.
I'm stuck on Purple Haze. You're going to have to do something to get me off of that one.
Well, Jimmy's looking down. He's very proud of you. Purple Haze is your favorite.
Purple Haze.
I still have to go with, I have to say the shake a day for me is the Power Cleanse Greens. And I add a little more nutrients to it this week. I added GI Complete. And IgG.
Wow.
All the lemon lime flavors. And you can tell right away. So
powerful.
If you're trying to get down a little bit, you feel a little more bloated, it's almost bikini season, pool, beach, whatever you're into. It's almost that type of year. So if you're a little behind schedule, I recommend doing 2 shakes a day from now until about 4th of July, Joe, and then you're going to be looking good.
All right. I'm going to have to try that then.
In addition, we've had some incredible healthy treats this week.
Oh, yeah.
We changed it up.
Yeah.
We didn't stop there with the originals. We got bigger and better than ever. So I really like, I'd have to say, the Mrs. D's peanut butter cups.
The peanut butter cups. No,
This is made with peanut butter super shake.
Yeah.
All natural peanut butter. And then what she did, I actually witnessed this, she took dark chocolates and melted them in organic coconut oil and put it right on top.
Yep.
Somebody said there's no way these are good. So we actually have the recipe right here. It's free, of course. But the Reese's peanut butter cup are incredible. And I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, because you've always been biased to peanut butter,
you know.
Right? Always. We know that. But I'm going for the Rice Krispie treat, the chocolate Rice Krispie treat.
Chocolate dark peanut butter?
Yeah, it had peanut butter too. Yeah. But I love Rice Krispie treats, especially when they're homemade.
Well, I guess if we're being honest, this is one of those rare instances where we are torn between two lovers, right? You love the chocolate peanut butter Rice Krispie treat. I love the chocolate peanut butter Reese's cups. They're both fantastic. So hopefully she's bringing it down today.
I know.
You know, because those things go quick.
Fast.
And in the past, we only did them 1 or 2 days a week. Now we're trying to incorporate them almost every day. And if you get lucky, you can have your dessert before or after with the smoothie. And then we have free, healthy, organic food from 11 to 2 p.m. We have salads and bowls. So let's hear a little bit about the great foods, because this is free, regardless if you're a customer, a client, a patient or not. You don't have to buy anything.
No.
So if you come in, you get free, healthy smoothies, you get the treats, and now we got the free, healthy, organic food from 11 to 2.
We've got Piata Italian street food, and they're here 11 to 2 all week. They're here all week, folks. And you know what? And all you have to do is come down. You can watch the workshops. You can shop. You can browse. Have lunch on us. You don't have to spend a penny. It's all free. And you know what? They've really gone above and beyond this time, because they have either salad bowls or they have a power bowl that has quinoa, lots of good grains.
Or you can do what I do. You get both.
You get both.
That's okay.
And you get a choice of 3 proteins. You can have chicken, steak, or salmon this time. So
well, of course,
we've really stepped it up.
I go with the fish, of course.
That's why we got it.
And if you come down today, you know, we have a full staff. So we can actually have our nurse, Kylie Rahi, perform an actual really interesting cutting-edge technology test. That's called Zyto. Yeah. Zyto's been around for quite a few years. It is an incredible test. It actually will look for the underlying causes, regardless of what you come in with. It's
That's
not
right.
a diagnostic tool, but more importantly than a diagnosis, Joe, is it'll tell us what are the underlying causes,
Right.
and we'll focus on toxicity, nutritional deficiencies. Maybe you have some meridian points that are congested. What are some other things that it tells?
You know,
Food.
it tells you a lot of things. I mean, it's really it tells you it's up to date is what I want to say, because whatever you did yesterday, if it's having an effect on you, it's going to show up in this scan. And it's kind of like when we had Jeff on the other day. This kind of does what he does, but electronically. Right. It's a lie detector test for your entire body. You know, you could take out a survey and you can fill it out, and you might sway a little bit if you're not telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth or the holistic truth, but you can't lie to the Zyto. It'll tell you.
Yeah, and
what's
that's
going
what I
on.
love the most is that it's highly reproducible.
Yeah.
It's 100% accurate. It's painless, right?
Yes.
Non-invasive. It takes a short period of time, and it's testing tens of thousands of frequencies in your body.
Yes.
And the great thing is that you get some results right there.
Yeah.
So
right on the
she's
spot.
doing free 15-minute demos on the Zyto. All you need to do is show up, Joe.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to call
on
and lock
down.
in an appointment, give us a call at 412-922-9355.
Yeah.
That's 412-922-WELL. If you want to come on down, 2419 Baldwick Road, right in the heart of Pittsburgh. Free parking out front, free parking behind, and free parking in the car wash. So when we get busier, of course, you know, it's nice to have
Right.
the extra parking spots. We have free patient books. We're doing free samples this week, especially if I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
You're getting a bag of samples. I did the value on this. It's close to $99 worth of samples. So those are all free. I give them out to anybody that comes in. So if you want to buy something, everything's on deep discounts.
Yeah, everything's on
In
deep
addition,
discount.
if you can't make it down here, what can they do, Joe?
You can call your order in, same phone number, 412-922-9355. You can email your order in. You can even place your order online and still get the discount.
What about if, you know, I've heard one or two people still have one of the fax machines. You sold them in 1980.
I did.
Do we accept faxes?
We do. We do. But we've been able them to go right to the printer, so that helps. But
Good.
yeah, we do still
Any
take
which way,
faxes.
folks. We're here to help you. If you need something today and you don't have time to come in, call, and we can do a curbside pickup. We can ship it anywhere in the U.S.
Yes,
right? In
absolutely.
some international areas. And you can just come in and browse around. So we'll be here today. It's Thursday until 5 p.m. It's a half day today for the team. So we're done at 5 p.m. So come on down.
Yeah, come on
There's
down. It's
plenty
gonna
of
be fun.
things you can do. And, you know, we have a lot of great literature. And that's the part I really enjoy, is to help educate people and the camaraderie. So when you come down and start talking to people, it's great to share your experiences, because when people come here, the experience is usually very positive.
Always positive, and we love when you come in with testimonials. We love when you come in with with either product, nutrient, or testimonials from one of our great practitioners like Jeff or Dr. Phil or Dr. O. We want you to spread the word. That's positive energy. When you have great results, come on down, talk to people about it, spread the word around. We might even put you on camera if you're feeling a little bit spontaneous.
If you're ready. So even if you're not. So this is a great presentation.
Yeah.
Written by one of the top outside sales professionals and educators in the country.
Our man in Southeast Florida, our man in Georgia, and our man in New England. He's everywhere.
He's in the Northeast, so we're excited that he did this for us, and he did a great job training on the team, Rashid Coates.
Yep.
So it's talking about how do you size up, right? And it's talking about average male testosterone levels with age actually decrease, unfortunately, right?
Yes, they do.
And, you know, when you look at it, you really peak in the late teens, early 20s, right? And then usually around 30, you're hanging on, and then you start getting into the workforce and the family, maybe traveling, working long hours, maybe not eating the best diet. And then a lot of people notice that their testosterone start to drop.
Right.
And then lo and behold, you know, maybe in their 40 or 50, they start to suffer, and they're going with the end result is ED. Right. However, this started a long time ago.
Sure did.
Dr. Edwin Lee, he's a functional medicine endocrinologist. I think one of the only ones in the country, one of the few, and definitely the first. He says, no, this starts with adrenal stress, thyroid dysfunction, and then it leads to the sex hormones. But it's been proven with all the research, it will naturally decline with age anyway, Joe. What about if somebody has a bad lifestyle?
Well, that's what we're seeing, with Dr. Lee and with like Dr. Donaldson. They're seeing low testosterone levels in men in their 20s.
Yeah,
That
even in
is
their
unheard
teens,
of.
right? And we've
Yes.
actually had some clients, family members like that. And I think when we go back to when we grew up, right, there were guys like you real lean and guys like me a little more, back then they call it stocky. But you didn't really see a lot of kids that were really obese at that time, right?
Right.
You'd see it one maybe in the whole school, right?
Right.
So they probably had some genetic issues. But nowadays, it's become more common.
Yeah. It's
And
the
that's a
norm.
big concern for us, right?
Yes.
You combine a sedentary lifestyle. Yesterday, we learned about from world industry expert on omegas, Todd Parker. We learned that you combine the changing of the fats in the early 70s to no fat. You introduce high fructose corn syrup, right?
Yep.
And then you now have taken the lifestyle and made it very sedentary now with technology.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, it is. And you look here, levels are down. That's the average.
Yeah.
Some people are down to 100.
Oh yeah, this incredible what's happening. I mean, you see it all over the place. It's become a whole marketing campaign. Low T.
And just because you work out, or even if you're in shape, you should still get tested.
Yes.
First time I got tested in the late 30s, I was 168.
1930s.
Yes, late 30s. It's a good one. So yeah, in the 1930s, yeah, at 38 years of age, approximately, my test levels were at 168.
Wow.
Recipe for disaster, right? So they're saying that would be average or low end in the 70s, right? So half the age. So you need to get tested. Right?
Sure.
A lot of times we know it's symptomology, but what are signs and symptoms of this, Joe?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, there's general ones like fatigue, like loss of muscle, loss of endurance, and then it gets more specific with cardiovascular issues, which is related directly to erectile dysfunction. If you don't have blood flow there, you're not going to have blood flow anywhere.
Absolutely. So a lot of times they look at that going hand in hand: blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, and then cardiovascular issues, maybe sexual function. And then you look at depression is a big one we don't even think about.
Yeah.
So think about a male that has a prostate issue. They put him on, he already has low T.
Right.
They put him on anti-testosterone medication. Can you see where the depression would really skyrocket?
Yeah, well, think about it. If you're tired, fatigued, no muscle, no sex drive, you're going to be depressed.
Absolutely. So what's really normal for testosterone? I've always used the number as 500 as being the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes people's levels can go to over 1,000. I don't think that's necessary.
No,
right?
no. I mean,
But I think around that 500 to 600 range is a really good number. Higher is a little bit better. You do not want to get below 300.
No.
And I think that's where we have issues. When you look at,
and Jamie, I think one of the problems is the testing ranges, right? And just like testing ranges for vitamin D, it's outrageous. But with testosterone too, based on your age, the range goes down on the test. But that's not where you want to be. You want to be in the range where you felt good.
Yeah, optimal. Not just normal, but optimal. Because, if you're somebody who's giving a lot, right, pumping a lot of energy out, you're working hard, you got a family, you're doing the things you need to do, that takes a lot of energy to do, right?
Oh, God,
so a low level, which would be normal, may not be optimal.
That's true. That's true. And again, that happens with all of these standardized tests. So I mean, in fact, we know a lot of doctors in the industry who, when they do the testosterone and the hormone panels, they tell the patient, put a younger age down on there. Where do you want to be? What do you want to feel like?
Absolutely.
And that shows you.
And that's why they have the actual age versus chronological age.
Right.
And I'll share with my numbers if that's okay with you.
Go right
in full transparency. Age 53. So I went to Dr. Lisa Coach's office, and then they sent me down to Lit Labs. How to get lit from the inside out. And they said, "Oh, we're going to test you." I said, "For what?" She goes, "We'll see what your actual age is versus chronological."
I
said, "Oh,
biological versus chronological."
I said, please, come in lower than 53. I can't walk out of here. So Abby was so sweet to perform the test on me, and it came in at 48. So I was hugging.
You're beating the curve.
Yeah,
that's it.
Give
beating
a
the curve.
Thank you. She goes, "Well, we're not going to stop here, right? we're going to go and test your arteries, which usually people score higher on. Says, oh, I knew it was too good to be true. Sends me down the hall. We're going to test the arteries. I'm waiting. This one took a little longer. And she said 47.
Wow. All right. That's it. You're beating the curve.
I'll take it.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Hey,
absolutely. That's great tests. I mean, I'd love to have those at the wellness.
It's coming.
All right.
Coming soon.
Biological versus chronological age.
And we need to know that because, you look at some of the things, look at quality of life. Here's the prevalence of ED as people get older, really skyrockets, from 40 to 60 and then in the 70 kind of plateaus. But this is very concerning because that's just the point in life when you're starting to enjoy life and living good. So we don't want that to happen. So this has been linked to, like you said, a lot of metabolic syndrome.
Right.
And Joe, talk about the connection between that because people may not realize, well, what does cardiovascular disease have to do with ED? And you started mentioning about circulation.
Yeah, well, metabolic syndrome or syndrome X, as it's been called over the years, it's based on 4 lifestyle measurements, and it measures insulin resistance, it measures hypertension, it uses cholesterol and fat levels, and your weight, obesity. So those 4, that's why they call it syndrome X. Those are the 4 points of the X, and they're all integral. They're all related, right? And then the result is going to be ED. These are the precursors, right? Usually starts with obesity or diet and exercise, right? And then you'll see insulin spike, right? When that happens, you're going to have hypertension go up. You're going to have your body not be able to process fat. So HDL levels going up. And then, LDL levels going up. And then
that's why
boom,
just one number doesn't tell you everything going on.
No,
right?
You need the whole picture.
I was talking to someone the other day. Their cholesterol was up slightly, right?
Yeah.
But the triglycerides were good. HDL, I says, let me explain it this way. Say you had your house, right? And you had a little scratch on your paint outside. And you took a picture of that. He says, the house needs to be repainted. We got a scratch on it. But then if you zoom back and you saw everything, you wouldn't even notice it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one piece of the big picture.
Yeah.
And you have to look at all the pieces. And there are some dots we like to connect. I think triglyceride and insulin levels
way more
are much more
than cholesterol, right?
Yeah, a better variable to look at than just cholesterol. But it's
triglycerides, so in case you don't know, is fat in the blood where you don't want fat.
It's
right?
where
That's
fat
the
and
one
sugar
place
connect.
you don't want it. Right.
It's when the fat and sugar really bind.
Right.
Now you have that triglyceride form, the 3-chain fatty acid, which we do not want. And when you look at this overall, the reason we're talking about this is because your first symptom may be what?
Oh my God, your first symptom could be, the fatigue. It could be
waist circumference.
I was going to say obesity. Usually it starts with obesity.
Yeah.
Usually does.
Fatigue,
and that number,
gaining weight.
I think Rashid has that number on here for us. I think if, where that circumference, if you're at that 38 to 40 inches for men.
So right here.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
I always say it should be less than 40 for a male, less than 35 for female.
Right.
That's a general statement. Now, somebody's a little bigger bone like me and never had a 30-inch waist, then maybe that number makes sense.
Right.
Somebody like Philly Phil over here, he would be concerned maybe at 32 or 34, right? So there is a range.
He Phil's in that 30-31 range, right? Aren't you, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A young man in great shape. So what we want to do is we want to test you versus you. There's general guidelines. However, we want to make sure that we're meeting you where you are because if somebody has a 35-inch waist, is that good or bad?
Well, it depends on the rest of the body.
And depends on what it was last year. And 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we want to do is get a baseline and then retest. So I always say the best thing for me that I know, got to tighten up the diet a little bit or increase the cardio, whatever it may be, is when my belt, right? So if you're on that last leg of the belt, get a new belt.
Yeah,
right? And don't buy, I call them the fat clothes.
Yeah.
My older brother, he's a good mentor for working out and fitness. I said, what do you do? He says, I don't have anything above a 36. He says, because when the jeans get tight, I don't eat. I go, for how long? He says, until they fit better. He said, that may be 2 or 3 days. I'll do a couple of shakes and that's it. Yeah. Right. So know your numbers. It's triglycerides, blood pressure, glucose, and everybody presents different. My challenge has been glucose levels, but my blood pressure is always good, right? Other people may be waist circumference. So it's not a one size fits all. These are just some variables to make sure you understand what they are. I love the waist circumference because you can do that at your house for free
Yeah.
any day.
Right.
And you got to be careful because you don't want to wait too long because that one sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it'll sneak up on you. You don't even need a measuring tape. You have one at your belt, right? For guys especially. And you know what else? I think a lot of people put too much stock, Jamie, in the BMI. And again, if you're athletic, if you're, high muscle content in the body, the BMI is worthless, right? So you have to do the whole picture.
Yeah, it's another number we keep track of because what we found actually in recent years, the old athletes, football players, wrestlers, basketball players, male or female, right? When they retired, they would get really heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them wouldn't live that long.
Yeah.
Now, when you see the retired players, such as
maybe Mr. Franco Harris,
Hall of
Famer, yeah,
close personal friend of yours.
looking lean and mean. That's
the first thing that people say when they see the picture of me, you, and him is Franco looks great.
Yeah, right.
I say, what about you guys are okay.
Yeah, you're all right.
Franco looks great because his teammates that weren't healthy didn't control their body weight. So there is something to the BMI because even if you're lean, as you age, you don't want to be too heavy.
Yes,
right.
And there's also that concept of skinny fat, right? You don't have any muscle so composition, body comp, which you put a lot of stock in over the years too, is I think even more important than actual weight or BMI.
And that's going to be reintroduced at the World of Wellness real soon. So we got the new biomarkers ready to go.
Good.
So we talk about, the different diagnosis and management of erectile dysfunction, right? So one is change your lifestyle, Joe.
Sure.
Because if you have poor circulation, you're probably not moving around a lot.
Nope.
You're probably overweight. Probably have blood pressure issues, correct?
Absolutely. I think this 2.5-year flu that we've been involved in has really even changed the whole definition of couch potato. People are not moving. They're not moving, Jamie, and that's a problem.
It's so foreign to me because I don't like to sit still. Like even sitting here is hard, right?
Yeah.
I like to move. If I'm at the beach, I'm walking, right? I'll sit for a little bit. I'll swim. I'll walk. This morning I walked for an hour. I like to keep moving, right? I'm not one to just sit there all day long, right?
Right.
So I think the key is to incorporate that activity throughout your day.
Yeah.
Because there's even some people that work out for an hour or two in the morning and then they don't move the rest of the day.
Yeah.
That's not good either.
That's not good either.
One of the things we learned from the Japanese culture when we look back at business in the 1990s, Joe, was that in Japan, every hour they take about 5 or 10 minutes to stretch, to walk, to deep breathe,
right?
To get their circulation.
Oh, and you always see video of the group Tai Chi classes outside. Businesses take their employees out. They do Tai Chi.
Yeah, Nutritional Frontiers and World of Wellness. We have certified yoga master is Kara.
Yes.
So Kara does a great job with that. We do deep breathing. We do now with Soul Intelligence, Christine Glein, even you.
That's something to take note of. If you think of it, do it. Right? If you think of it, do it. And that's something do it now. Right? Do it now. Someone says practice your breathing. Do it. Start taking a deep breath.
So there's a lot of things you can do for erectile dysfunction. One is, of course, is change your lifestyle. Another one is to look at medical intervention.
Yeah.
You can do that first with nutraceuticals like the Testo 180.
Yes.
Right? The Estro Cleanse. We also look at blood pressure because, Viagra was actually a blood pressure medication.
That's what it was designed for, to increase nitric oxide.
And we had a PSC, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Big positive side effect on that one.
So people did report back some great results, maybe not with blood pressure, but helping. So it's all about circulation. And then when you look at one is ED, two is PSA levels.
Right.
Do you know 1 out of every 2 males, if we live long enough, will have prostate cancer?
That's what they say, Jamie. We have to try to change that.
Well, it's me or you.
Well, it could be me and we could each have another count.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. 2 other people.
Not us.
Yeah. I'm just doing the stats, of course. But, when you look at PSA level, the number is 4, right? Again, I want us to look at trends, establish a baseline, and see what happens over time. We find a lot of times it's bacterial infection in the urinary tract, right?
Right. There could be a lot of other issues, not just the elevation of the prostate, not just the growth of the actual prostate.
A lot of times we see some type of damage, right?
Yes.
When we grew up, A lot of times you would ride your bikes for hours and
Oh,
days.
yeah.
And sometimes you get in those bike accidents. Sometimes the seat pressure would do it. Well,
Well,
there
there
it
it
is,
is.
right?
The
Yeah.
seat, those bicycle seats were not designed for good prostate health, guys. So if you're riding for hours upon hours, long distance riding, I suggest you modify that a little bit.
Yeah, it could be certain medications, right?
Yeah.
So they said one of the best things to help prevent prostate cancer is ejaculation, right?
Exactly. Dr. What's the guy with the beard?
Andrew Weil?
Andrew Weil. He stood up one day in front of a couple hundred doctors. He did his whole presentation. And one doctor stood up at the end. He said, what's your best protocol for prostate health? He said, ejaculate on a regular basis.
Well, there you go. That's one thing you take away today and implement with your healthy lifestyle.
It's a healthy lifestyle, guys.
Keep everything cleaned out.
Yes.
And, you look at, they do change with age, the PSA levels, right? As we age, they do go up a little bit. So if it's trickling up, don't worry about it, right? If it's a slow rise over time, not a big deal.
Sometimes they're too anxious to do those biopsies. I mean, you don't need to do that.
No.
Let's work on lifestyle.
We've had people improve. Now, I'm not making any claims here, but we had a gentleman come in years ago. We always talk about this, but he came in, and he wasn't even a patient. He says, I have a cure for prostate cancer. He says, what? He said, tomato paste. I got high levels of lycopene.
Yeah.
And that was one of the triggers for us to do more research on lycopene,
right?
Which we now incorporate the PRT. What is a PRT?
Patented, research, trademark ingredient of lycopene.
Called Lyco Red. That's in our PSA formula, which we'll talk about shortly. So if there's a rapid rise in anything, I always say wait 3 months and get checked again.
Yeah.
Don't go to the biopsy because we saw damage, right, to the prostate, right, can actually stimulate cancer.
Yes.
So be very careful with that. Some other things that we look at as far as a risk factor, depending on the age and the levels, again, be careful. But as that number gets up there, the greater the risk for cancer is.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the solutions, Joe? Number one?
Wow, Testo 180. What a great formulation. It's been tried and true, improved a little bit over time. But this is so important because it has, again, multiple facets to address the issue. Okay, it's not just with nutrients that stimulate the body's production of testosterone, but it also has nutrients like L-arginine and DIM that help keep that ratio of testosterone to estrogen in place. And many times, that's the big culprit.
Well, we're supporting 3 biochemical pathways in the body, right? One is increasing testosterone.
Yes.
Number 2 is increasing circulation. And number 3 is helping with the testosterone to estrogen ratio.
Right.
So let's break those down. Number 1, we want to give the nutrients to build testosterone, right? The body needs certain herbs and nutrients that help build it. And some of these have been tried and tested for 25, 30 years. We used to use Tribulus in the 90s.
Yeah.
This is the Bulgarian Tribulus, the number 1, to help boost testosterone. It stimulates luteinizing hormone in the testes. Then we have maca, which has been around a long time, a great herb. And then horny goatweed. If the name doesn't tell you, nothing will.
Yeah, one of the best. Horny goatweed. I mean, it's funny because, it does have a scientific name.
Yeah.
We don't use that because this is better.
Oh, that's the name everyone knows.
But, Jamie, some formulas have one of these.
Yes.
We have all 3.
That's just to boost testosterone. The other thing we learned about it today is the importance of circulation. Right?
Nitric oxide.
So how do we do that?
That's arginine. Okay, got arginine. We have ginkgo and little ginseng in there. But, you want to stimulate. Remember, you cannot take nitric oxide. You have to stimulate the body's production of it. And a key factor is arginine.
And then what we notice is when testosterone level goes up, especially if they go up rapidly, you'll see a rapid rise of estrogen in male or female, which we don't want.
We don't want.
Because that's going to promote body fat storage, right? It's going to actually inhibit testosterone's ability to function. So we go with a DIM ingredient that will actually increase the ratio so you get more activated and free testosterone that can actually do its job.
Exactly. DIM or diindol methane helps to keep that balance in check. Keep estrogen levels at the right ratio to the free testosterone.
What about something like DHEA?
Well, DHEA is awesome because DHEA is one of the master hormones in the body, right up there with pregnenolone, right? It's cholesterol's at the top. You got pregnenolone and DHEA. You have to have a downstream effect when it comes to hormone production. So stimulating the master ones is the best way to
And
do
we
it.
have DHEA Nutritional Frontier. That's usually reserved for people over 35
Oh, yeah.
or have low DHEA. And the other thing I like about DHEA is that it helps with the adrenal gland,
Yes.
which we talked
Right.
about. So it's a master precursor to adrenal, thyroid, and sex hormones. So just doing a quick recap here on the L-arginine, like we mentioned, great for circulation. It can help with sperm count and sperm quality. Ginseng, been utilized for years to help with circulation, right? They actually have studies on increasing sperm count and sperm motility, as well as testosterone levels, right?
Yep.
So just through the improvement of the circulation. Then the Bulgarian Tribulus. We use this in the 90s in sports nutrition. This really helps stimulate luteinizing hormone so that your body can actually increase testosterone production. And this is used actually by a lot of the Bulgarian athletes, the
Right.
weightlifters in the 60s and
Yeah, it
70s.
was.
And they said that this is attributing to a lot of their success. We know they were using performance enhancers, but the ones that were using Tribulus got even better results. And then the DIM, Joe, I know this is right down your alley with your
Yeah.
background of training all the bio-T doctors and hormone specialists. So what about this?
Well, again, it comes down to not focusing on one hormone, but on the system, okay? The whole hormonal panel. And DIM, it comes from cruciferous vegetables, diindol methane. Years ago, we only had another metabolite of it, which was indol 3-carbinol. And but now we have actual DIM. We've used them both in some of our formulas. But again, it addresses everything. Keep the estrogen in check while the free testosterone.
Yeah, and another reason to eat cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts and spinach, and those are some of my favorite vegetables to eat. I know there's been a push out there, like people with thyroid, don't eat these things. I don't agree.
I don't agree with it either.
Because they don't tell them don't eat bonbons, don't eat French fries, don't drink wine, don't eat sugar. Those all have a much more damaging effect on estrogen. So I think that's something where we hear in the field, and we take something that maybe on the scope is correct, but when we dive deeper, it's not fully accurate. So folks, eat your green vegetables.
Right.
So we have a formula actually called PSA. Why do we call it PSA?
But it's just like the test, prostate stimulating. You know, this is where you address the prostate health of the prostate itself, and it's such a complete formula. It's gone through revisions, right?
Yes.
Over the years, there's been other ones around, but this is the most complete formula I've ever seen.
So we utilize this formulation because it has a combination of the antioxidants, right? You have vitamin E in there. You have zinc in there. These are all important. Selenium, right? They're all important for detoxifying and an antioxidant because the prostate and the thyroid are actually under a lot of attack.
Yes.
Right. And then we use some really key nutrients in here. So talk about the importance of things like saw palmetto.
Yeah, this has been used by itself for years. I mean, for decades, it's been used by itself. And it provides something called a phytocytosterol. This is a nutrient that keeps the inflammation of that gland down, and it supports it on a high antioxidant level. There's many formulas out there that use cytosterols all by themselves. Right now, it's only a component of this formula because it's so complete.
Absolutely. And we talked about some of the PRTs, the Lycored, which is a patent lycopene, comes with a tremendous amount of data. And some of these other ingredients in here actually inhibit some of the enzymes that convert testosterone to DHT. Right. So we want to inhibit that 5-alpha reductase enzyme. We're not getting too technical today. So this formula has a lot of science behind it.
Sure does.
And it's been proven. I believe we have some
testimonials
and actually some case studies. Do you want to review this?
Yeah, and this one, let's see. This case study, I think it's a little bit low there.
I got the glasses,
my blue light blockers. Okay, so yeah, this one was interesting because this one was over, if you look at the time span on this, okay, from over a 5-year period, okay? And that's beautiful because that really shows you a long-lasting lifestyle
and
change.
what we see a steady, slow increase,
slow.
2 to 2.5 to 3.23. So we're starting to get a little concerned, right?
Yeah, and then after
because we showed earlier when you increase PSA numbers, there's a direct correlation with increased risk factors for prostate cancer.
Yeah, and then with the use of PSA, it went from 3.23 down to 1.79.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that's within a year.
And only 2 caps a day.
2 caps a day. Yeah, this is not something you have to mega dose. You take just the
Well, and
dosage
I like
listed.
the fact that they showed over a year later, right?
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes people take a supplement for a month.
Yeah, and they think it's, it should help like a drug. It's going to change everything.
Even a lot of drugs don't change it in a month, right?
Nah,
So you got to give it time. You got to commit to it.
Yeah.
You got to take it as prescribed,
take it
just
as
like you would a
prescribed.
medication. This is 2 per day for this
And-
type of person.
And adjust your lifestyle on top
Of
course, right?
Always does, right? So the newest member of the NF Complete series, Joe, drum roll.
Oh boy, this is the big one. Finally.
Frontier Men's Complete by Nutritional Frontiers. And the reason we did this is that we wanted a multi, but we wanted some extra specific nutrients for men's health.
For men's health. And we first came out with the Women's Complete, which went through revisions for about 4 years, right? This one was fast.
Yeah. Well,
we knew exactly what we needed.
A year. Yeah. That's fast in our world, a year. But the reason we need a multi, and this goes back to actually 20 years ago.
It sure does.
That they showed in JAMA, the American Medical Association, for the first time in 40 years, said change your diet, right?
Yep.
And
take a multivitamin.
Take a multi.
Every single
and this
day.
is due to the nutrition depleted soil, the over farming, the use of herbicides and pesticides, plus a more stressful and sedentary lifestyle, right?
Yeah. I mean, the nutrient content of the fruits and vegetables has nosedived. Now they say pretty much you need 10 servings of a fruit or vegetable to equal 1 serving of nutrient content of 50 years ago.
Incredible. So we fortified this with active vitamins, right? What does it mean by active vitamins? Aren't all vitamins active?
No. I mean, if they're synthetic, then your body's not going to recognize them. And if they're active, they come from a biological source, whatever that is, but it's body activated. When you say activated, that means the body can utilize it immediately.
It's like a car with no gas, right? It may be able to roll downhill, but it can go backwards too. It's not going to get you anywhere. So you need the active vitamins because they actually have the energy to actually do something.
Good word, the energy. That's right, the frequency that's needed.
And then we didn't stop there, did we?
No.
We went into the PRT, Albion patented research trademark bioavailability minerals. And we did a whole session yesterday with Rick Harnish.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the fact that he showed all the data showing how more bioavailable the trademarked minerals are.
Right.
Because if you don't have those, you're not going to get the results.
No, you got to remember, minerals are basically rocks. Right?
And they're
very
unstable.
Hard. They're unstable and your body can't absorb them.
So how you stabilize them determines how your body recognizes them, absorbs them, assimilates, and excretes. So what we do with our minerals, we attach them and we use covalent bonds. We don't just mix them.
So the body recognizes.
Bonded, that's why they're called tracks, the real amino acid chelating system, because they actually take the two, magnesium and glycine, and bond it together.
Right.
Where a lot of the generic ones, they just mix them up. You can't use the same science on both, right? So we found yesterday too, a lot of those will actually irritate. He said it's like scratching the digestive tract.
Oh, yeah.
Think of a woman that's on iron oxide. Folks, you haven't been heard that iron is actually constipating and irritating the intestinal tract? That's why. So we didn't do that with the men's complete or the women's complete. The other thing we added in is a superfood complex. Talk about the importance of that.
Well, the superfood complex enables you to get the highest amount of nutrients in the smallest amount of food. That's the concept behind a superfood.
These are dehydrated, right?
Yes.
So you can get super high concentrations in a very light amount, right?
Right.
And we added in the cardiovascular, immune, and reproductive support for males in this formula. So highly therapeutic. It has everything you need in here except for the
omega-3s. That's it. So the bundle, right? The PPI for men's health, and omega-3D.
There you go. So this has all the minerals we talked about. It actually has some of the very important nutrients in it. Lutamax, winner of 2019 ingredient of the year.
Yeah.
Let's hear about Lutamax.
Powerful antioxidant. Really, they focused all of the studies on eye health because, as you said many times, this is your eyes are like an internal organ exposed to the outside. And so oxidative stress is going to happen to the eyes faster than anywhere else in the body.
And if we think about the eyes, somebody has macular issues. The macula is the center of the eye. it's where 90% of your vision occurs. So
Yeah.
when someone has macular degeneration, they'll look out of the side of their eye or damage to the macula. You could be at the stop sign, you see everything but the stop sign, because that's where you're zeroing in on. So what they did at OmniActive that created Lunamax, they studied and found the 3 key nutrients in the macula of the eye are lutein, RR, and RS zeaxanthin.
Right.
So that's what the Lunamax compound is. It's a combination of those 3 nutrients. And there's been studies not only on macular degeneration, on vision, on blue lights, on headaches, and on sleep.
Absolutely, yeah, because all of those things will affect your sleep, especially blue light exposure. And of course, then, the Lunamax also, this is the studies that were on skin, right? Everything, heart, cardiovascular, energy, the works.
So another example of a nutrient with PRTs and PSE, positive side effects. We, of course, added all the active vitamins, chelated minerals, the active folate, and DMG,
And
Joe.
DMG, got to have DMG in there. It's not complete without DMG.
No, so all the cardiovascular health nutrients we talked about earlier, including red beet powder.
Yes,
right?
again, for nitric oxide production.
Right. We also have CoQ10 and L-arginine.
Wait a minute. The CoQ10, let's talk about that. How much CoQ10 is in this?
I believe it's 100 milligrams.
100 milligrams in a multivitamin, unheard of, folks. That's why. Unprecedented. And that's why this becomes a 1-2 punch. This multi has everything you need except the omegas. Add that in. You're home.
And folks, the more I learn about this, I think a lot of times we're searching for that new sexy ingredient, right? Oh, this is a secret ingredient. It's CBD or NAC or whatever it is, quercetin, right? But we forget about the safety in numbers, right?
Right.
You need the foundations. These are all the catalysts for all the reactions in the body. Good morning. So what we want to do is make sure you have a foundation. I take a multi every day now. I'm still finishing up my Frontier multi.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going into the men's real soon.
And remember, foods don't deliver single nutrients, right? There's not a food out there that delivers a single nutrient. So this is why the concept of the multivitamin mineral is so important.
And a lot of times you need vitamin C. A lot of times you need all the nutrients in an orange, right?
Right.
And that's why we do the superfood. So loaded to help with male reproductive health. We got all the nutrients in there we talked about earlier. And then here's all the research behind all the ingredients that we have, Joe.
Yeah, we back it up and the research backs it up. So it's always there for you. That's something you don't get anywhere else, but with us, it's front and center.
So a little review, Joe, and the summary. You want to walk us through this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a multivitamin mineral at its base, right? But it has what we call ACEs. That's vitamins A, C, and E, and selenium. So important. Selenium's a trace mineral. We're very deficient in it. As you mentioned, the trace minerals, the bond that they have enables us to absorb them, right? Methylated Bs means activated, and also the methyl tetrahydrofolate version of folic acid to make sure we absorb it. DMG was always part of the B vitamin family years and years ago, but we know it's complete now with DMG in it. You have the superfoods, chlorella, and one of my favorites, grapeseed extracts, always one of my favorites, PRTs, a cardiac blend. Guys, heart disease is still the biggest killer for us, and we have to address that on a daily basis. And then sexual health. Of course, we started this whole thing off with how do you prevent getting into that stage of ED.
Yeah, and for less than $2 a day, Joe.
Wow.
Less than $2 a day.
Wow, that's incredible.
You can get all the nutrients you need to cover your bases. And for less than $3 a day, you get the omega-3 with the vitamin D. So, folks, we make this so simple and easy to incorporate. We make it very affordable for you. And we are loading up these formulas with comprehensive PRTs so that you don't have to take 8, 9, and 10 products.
Right. And no window dressing. Good amounts, therapeutic levels of everything that are in here.
Well, thanks so much, Joe. Did a great job on this, as always. Thanks to Philly Phil on the board.
You look at that 44 minutes. So we time these, we have this down or what?
Yeah, it's, biological clock is always ticking, Joe. So I thank all the supporters for our Wine and Wellness Week. We got people coming in right now. So we are open till 5 o'clock today. Take full advantage. Free healthy food.
Come on down
free
and get lunch on us.
Good morning. We have the free smoothies. I do see that we have the free healthy treats.
Yes, we
There's
do.
a line around the corner for those
And
things.
don't miss the Shake a Day demo at 1 o'clock today.
Uh-oh.
The bar will be open, and don't forget to tip your servers and
What bar?
bartenders. The juice bar,
The
the smoothie
bar.
bar.
The bar. Well, thanks so much. Have a great day.